When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
All right, we say good afternoon to Carmi Levy, our CTV tech analyst. And Carmi, story generating a lot of buzz, and I actually brought this up to listeners as well a little earlier on. This settlement yesterday, jury verdict rather, in LA against Meta and YouTube, finding them liable as far as social media addiction is concerned. So just can you fill in sort of the blanks on this one so we have a better understanding of what this means?
Yeah, this all has to do with a woman who's now 20 years old. Her name is Kaylee. She started using both Meta's products, Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube, and TikTok and Snapchat when she was 6 years old. And she launched a lawsuit against these companies, claiming that they damaged her mental health, that she now suffers from anxiety, suicidal ideation, depression, and that it all correlates to her use of these platforms, and that they were specifically designed without appropriate protections in place, that they exposed her deliberately to these kinds of risks. And so what's important here, she's won $3 million in compensatory damages, still waiting on a punitive damage number. It'll probably be larger. But this singular case is the first of an expected thousands of them, of plaintiffs who basically allege the same thing. And the fact that the companies have lost it, they say they'll appeal, but the fact that they've lost it now gives power to all of those other cases in court to essentially move forward, and also sets the stage for others who might have been on the sidelines thinking, should I sue or should I not? Well, now they're going to sue. It puts the social media industry on notice. You designed these tools specifically knowing that it would harm its users, particularly young users. Now you have to pay the price.
So I asked the question, I'm going to bring this up again later in the show when we ask it. You mentioned the girl in this case was 6 years old, to which people say, what was the 6-year-old doing with this, to begin with, right?
Yeah, and it's a reasonable question to ask, because we know that the minimum age on all of these tools, and in fact, the minimum age for using social media in Canada by law is 13. And so clearly she was using it against the terms of service. And it's a reminder to us that this case notwithstanding, digital safety for kids, for teenagers, isn't just the responsibility of the technology platforms. Yes, they have to design them to be safer. Yes, they have to design them to be less addictive and harder for predators to target our kids and all of those things. But digital safety starts and frankly ends at home. It's up to mom and dad and caregivers to make sure that they're communicating with their kids to ensure that they're using these tools in a safe and effective manner. And so shared responsibility here. This time the industry now takes it on the chin, but that does not absolve mom and dad from their responsibilities. Parents, if you're not having these conversations with your kid, consider this outcome, this verdict, as a reminder that maybe now's the time to do just that.
Let me move on to the next story. Apple confirming, because, apparently ads are going to be everywhere in our world. Even their apps feature, or their maps feature in their app is going to start showing users? Or showing ads? I'm sorry. I can't speak English today.
No worries. So the good news here is that, you're not going to see ads while you're navigating in the car. It's not going to be that intrusive. It's only when you're searching for something. So let's say you're searching for a restaurant near you, or, a coffee shop in your neighborhood. You'll see sponsored listings that show up at the top of the list of results that come back. And you'll see a little label next to it that says ad. Or sometimes when you see businesses on the map itself, as you're kind of searching around looking for things, the businesses that have bought ads, they might appear a little bit larger, maybe in a different color. The pin will be more obvious. And so it just allows businesses to kind of claim their real estate in the map environment, but it's not going to be as obtrusive as, say, it is on other apps. And a good guide here is if you've ever used Google Maps, which of course is Apple Maps' direct competitor, they introduced ads a couple of years ago, and it's the same thing. You really have to look to find them. And frankly, I use it all the time, and I almost barely notice it. So Apple, this is just another way for them to, generate revenue from their services company. for their services business. And let's face it, it's pretty expensive providing those services. You got to drive around with cars taking imagery, manage all that satellite data and all that stuff. So it's a pretty decent deal. From the looks of it, and it's not going to be all of that annoying. A good guide here is take a look at the Apple App Store. The kinds of ads that are already on that platform. That's what Apple Maps is going to look like. And frankly, most people aren't even aware that there are ads on the App Store. So I think we're in good shape.
I'm glad when you clarified I wasn't going to be at you while you were driving, just showing you different ads.
So okay.
Then you have a story here, with all the electronics in cars nowadays, and I forgot about this, but a cyber attack on a breathalyzer company that has a device that goes in your car. What happened here?
This is a company called Intoxilock, and so basically it's a breathalyzer. You blow into it, and if you have not been drinking, you're allowed to start the car and go driving. Every few months, they're connected devices, and they have to connect with the mothership, with the cloud, with their service to calibrate themselves. And if you don't calibrate every few months, the breathalyzer stops working. You can't drive your car. Well, wouldn't you know it, the company had a cyber attack. And unfortunately, those online services aren't available. There are people on the road who cannot authenticate now. They can't calibrate their system. So their cars are basically sitting by the side of the road and they can't be used. Companies doing everything it can to recover from the cyber attack. But this is a reminder that as we become increasingly connected, we see that services that we thought would always be there, sometimes they're not going to be there. And it's maybe something to keep in mind. Maybe you shouldn't be drinking and driving in the first place, but if you have been, it's a question to ask before they install this thing on your vehicle.
Then again, it does disable the car, so maybe that's not so bad.
Yeah, exactly. It keeps people who maybe shouldn't be driving off the road
in the first place,
so I guess we're all safer.
You got a story here on Amazon. This is interesting because, nowadays when we talk smartphones, it's either an Apple iPhone or it's Samsung. I think they pretty much own the largest share of the market. Why is Amazon trying to get back in the business?
They tried in 2014. So 12 years ago, they introduced something called the Amazon Fire Phone, and that was supposed to make it easier to buy stuff from Amazon, really kind of the e-commerce shopping experience brought to your smartphone. Within 6 months, it was clear that this thing was absolutely not selling. Nobody wanted it. It was a clunky phone. It was almost like the technology simply couldn't support that very ambitious mission, and nobody bought it, and they canceled it. And so now here we are 12 years later. They have a program, and they're calling it Transformer, and basically they're going to use the AI-powered version of Alexa to help you buy more stuff on Amazon. So it sounds very familiar to the Fire Phone. Not quite sure if people are willing to give up their iPhones and their Android devices for this. I don't think the world was asking for an Amazon phone. Basically, the only way that I think a lot of people would give up their existing phone is if Amazon gave it away for free. But even then, it's a really big lift for people. It's a major change for folks to ask. And even though Amazon may be the world's largest e-retailer, I just don't see this thing succeeding.
How hard is it just to go to Amazon on your phone in a browser?
It isn't, and that's the thing. I think most of us, if you're an Amazon customer, you already have the Amazon app on your phone. You're already used to using it on your device. And maybe it could be a little bit more streamlined. Maybe the AI could be a bit better. Maybe you could talk to it with Alexa Plus. Maybe that's the value proposition of this Transformer phone. But frankly, I'm not giving up my iPhone for this. And I'm perfectly happy with the Amazon app as it is. Okay. And I don't think I'm alone. It's a problem no one's asking for.
Yeah, there you go. Solution to a problem that doesn't exist. And your last story, judge says witness wore smart glasses to sneakily inform their testimonies. This was in court?
It was in a British court, the Insolvency and Companies Court, and the guy who was lodging the claim, he was on the witness stand wearing a pair of smart glasses, and somebody was talking him through, because you can hear it in the smart glasses, but unfortunately the Bluetooth connection to this guy's phone somehow got interrupted during his testimony. People were already commenting, something looks really off. He looks like he's being coached. He doesn't seem to be speaking naturally. And then all of a sudden, the voice, instead of coming out of his smart glasses, started coming out of his smartphone on the speakerphone for everyone to hear. The judge was obviously not very happy, stopped proceedings, not quite sure if this guy is going to win his case now.
There you go. Try to sneak in his smart glasses. Carmi Levy, Carmi, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hello, Canada.
This is Bryan Adams Radio.
Hosted by Bryan Adams himself.
We'll play a few of mine, a ton of my favorites, and some must-hear behind-the-scenes stories from the world of rock and roll. One thing about doing rock and roll so long is you end up meeting a lot of the people that you admire. Sometimes you even get to work with them.
It's only love, and that's all.
Bryan Adams Radio.
I'm coming back to you.
Now available on the free iHeartRadio app.
Hey everybody, how are you tonight? Sounds great.